Hi Darshini, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Okay, so it's nice to have you in this session, and we're going to, this is an introductory class for verbal ability. So I came to know through Google Form that you are interested in, learning about verbal ability, and that you're in your first year, and you will be, very soon getting into placements in your final year. So this is the right time that we have to start preparing, and when you do it right from the first year, I think it's going to be really effective. And I'm really happy to see you that you have taken interest so soon to know about verbal ability and to know about quantitative aptitude and the other important things that comes under placement. So in today's class, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some tips about what is verbal ability and how we should prepare for that, and what are the important things that we have to cover, and what are the benefits of learning verbal ability. Okay, aptitude is another section. So first we'll focus more on building our skills and verbal ability, and then slowly maybe we can get into the aptitude stuff, but both are very important. So quantitative aptitude is nothing but using logical reasoning and kind of problem solving, puzzles and other topics, and that's a different subject actually. Okay, so is that clear? Shall we proceed?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So anytime, if you have any questions, Darshini, you can ask me, you can stop me, and you can ask me. Okay, there's nothing like you have to listen and I have to speak, nothing like that. Let it be very interactive. Is that okay?
Okay, sir, sure.
Okay, great. So the first reason that we have to understand why we are into this verbal ability is because when it comes to placements, there are a lot of companies that conduct online assessments in order to select students for recruitment, right? So they have a kind of strategy to filter students based on their skill sets, and one of the skill set that they are expecting is it's called as verbal ability and quantitative aptitude, right? So this normally comes in a online test. So any company, any job will normally have a online test. So that would be the first round, and once we clear that first round, then we'll slowly get into the next round, and that depends on the companies. So what the next round could be is based on what the company is planning. For example, if a company is giving more importance for sales and marketing portion, and if they are looking for candidates who are really good at sales and marketing, it means they're going to have a round on communication. For example, they can ask you questions like, how do you sell this product? So how can you convince a customer in buying our product? So questions can be like that. If it's a company that is into sales, right? Sales of products and services. But in case if it's a core company, then they're going to test you on your skill sets for technical skill sets. That is, if you're from, say, computer science department, then they're going to test you on programming skills like Java or Python, or it could be artificial intelligence or blockchain. It could be anything, right? If you're from a mechanical department, they're going to test you on design and how much you know about using software as such, like CAD or SolidWorks, like that. Okay, it depends on the company. So whatever it may be, the second round, let us not focus on that, because first we need to somehow clear the first round. So one mistake that most of our students they commit is Like they don't take seriously when they are in the first year or in the second year, and sometimes even in the third year and final year also, right? So they are not that much serious about what they are doing. Maybe when they are coming into the college in the first year, they have this intention of, we have entered into the college, we have to study well, we have to score good marks, because it's something new, so they have their interest. But as time goes by, that interest goes down, and you feel that the education system is kind of monotonous, and we are repeatedly doing the same thing, and we are not learning something which is new, and it becomes something like a repeated task. So when you do things in this way, you may lose your interest very soon. So what happens is, they don't focus on what is important. So they lose, slowly they lose track of what they are supposed to do. So they don't develop themselves. See, a candidate is supposed to, be, in terms of communication, he needs to be strong. That is one fundamental thing that any corporate or any position, that's a kind of expectation that students have to be good in communication. And the next one is, whatever they are doing. Now, for example, I would say, like, whatever, in the sense, like, if they are, if they want to do a project, or if they want to do an internship, they need to have some kind of skills. They need to have creativity. They need to know some fundamental concepts or topics or theories, so which is part of the core subject that they are learning. So see, if it's a computer science student or IT student, they have to know about programming languages. So someone can't say that I've completed my computer science or IT, but I'm not very good in programming languages. People don't accept that. So that is where they are, not strong. And it doesn't happen overnight, right? In a single day, it can't happen. It has to, start from the first year. Even first year could be very early, because in the first year, I normally suggest students to focus on communication, so that they can, express themselves well anywhere, at any point, be it a technical interview or a group discussion or a mock interview, whatever it is, they would be able to speak well. So that's one thing that I suggest. And like, first year is the time when students come from school, and then they, the transition takes place, so that they understand about the college and they know how the system works. All these things happen in the first year. So we don't want them to, be burdened with the technical concepts right from the beginning. So I would suggest that this 1 year can be focused and dedicated to communication. Yeah, that's one thing that students can do. But the problem is, how many of them are doing it? That is a problem. So we can only suggest, we can only recommend, but then, language, as you know, that it should come from within. The person who wants to do it has to practice it. Otherwise, it may not come well, right? There's no use. Something listening to somebody, it's not going to help unless they practice. This is one thing, right? So this is where we have to understand how English is used, and how companies or industries, they expect, what they expect in English. Now, English has several branches. No, so what they expect from engineers is very different from what they expect from students who are, for example, completing their MBA. So their expectation should be different. And for engineers, or for people who are associated with technical fields, the expectation is very different. And for people like us who teach, the expectation is very different. Now we need to understand what people in the sense companies, what industry is really expecting. So as far as my experience, what I know is, industries are expecting students to communicate well first. That's the first thing that they are expecting, right? I mean, I would say that's the basic thing that they are expecting. So they need to know how to communicate appropriately at any given context, right? It could be in any context. Maybe, for example, it could be a presentation, or it could be talking to a client over phone. So the situation and context differ. So the point is, at any given situation, these candidates who are observed into the organization should be capable enough to speak well. So this is one thing that we have to understand, right? And the next thing that they expect is the student should be very good in terms of writing, right? In terms of coming up with a report, or creating a presentation, or writing a project proposal, or sending an email to the client, or it could be any kind of writing. So they should have some basic knowledge about how to write, right? And writing, that it's a skill which is very much ignored in our universities and colleges. We don't focus more on proper writing, right? We just, if we give an assignment, people just copy and paste it, or they take it from the internet and they, write something. Okay, so that's not the real type of writing. Real type of writing is writing articles, or writing, like project proposal. For example, if I ask you to, you have to come up with a project proposal, then the student has to know that. Though it's not going to come very soon in your first year, but it's going to take some time. Like maybe they can ask you in the third year, or when you're doing a mini project, or in your final year when you're doing the final project. So it depends. So students cannot, simply say, I don't know how to write, or, I'm not that good at writing. They cannot do that, right? So English in terms of writing, again, is expected in industries in order to, show that you're really good. This is one thing. And at the entry level, okay, at the entry level, we have this verbal ability, because you may not be learning grammar, or people may not be testing you on reading comprehension, or whatever topics that's there in the verbal ability. People won't test you after you join the industry. Okay, it's of no use. See, unless you want to prepare for some exam, these topics won't come in your life, right? But at the entry level, they have this as a requirement, because they want to make sure that the candidate that they are hiring is good enough in all these fundamental skills. Now, I would say these are fundamentals, because you are learning these concepts right from your school, isn't it, right? It's not now that we are doing. These are fundamental topics that we are learning since the beginning, okay, since your childhood. So another thing, why these companies are conducting these types of assessments is that because there are too many engineers coming out every year. Now, it's very difficult for them to filter them just like that. Imagine if 1,000 students are coming for the interview. Now, there's no way that they can filter them one by one. So delivering an online test can be an easy way to filter them completely. Okay, so people have these things like quantitative aptitude, or logical reasoning, sometimes technical, even technical tests can be part of your online test. They can give you programming, and they can ask you to solve that and show the output. They can ask. Okay, so we need to be familiar with all these things. I understand that you're from EC department, so you're very much eligible for IT companies as well. So you cannot, tell to the HR that, sir, I'm from EC department. I'm not that good in programming. You cannot say that, right? Though it's genuine that you may not be learning as much as a computer science or an IT student would be learning. Still, because you are eligible for IT companies, that is, your department is eligible for IT companies, so it becomes a must that EC or EEE students should also, learn programming. And those who do it, and those who are, good enough at it, for them, there is high chance that they might get. And through my experience, I've learned that there are many ECE students who have excelled in programming, and they have got placed in better than computer science or IT students. It is possible. It's not something. It's not like a rocket science, which is very difficult to learn. So anybody can learn it. Okay, it's a kind of again, practice. You practice, it comes automatically. Now this is how verbal ability functions in placements. So this is all about placements. Now I'll also give you tips about competitive exams. Now I'm not going to elaborate on this because it's not required, because you said that you're focusing more on placements. So still, learning verbal ability and quants can also help you in future if you're planning to go for any government exams. Now, for example, you can take up any banking exams, or you can take up insurance-based exams. You can take up defense exams if you are eligible for that. And there are many other exams like management exams like CAT, MAT, and all these things, IGMAT. And even IELTS and TOEFL, though we don't have grammar as such. I mean, like it doesn't come as it is asked in a verbal ability pattern. In IELTS and TOEFL we have this one there, like speaking, listening, reading, and writing. So those are the modules that we have. So that's a different kind of test, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to be useful. So any competitive exams, you can you can write and clear if you're very good at learning these two things. And if you do it right from your first year, then you become very strong at it. And it wouldn't take a lot of time to just write and complete it. It's as simple as that. So I normally tell students who are interested in placements to also focus on competitive exams, because it's not going to disturb your placement routine at all, because it's just one day exam. You go there, you fill in the application form online, wherever it is, you apply for the exam, and on the date of the exam, you go write the exam and come back. And there is no connection between going for a competitive exam and for placements. If you're getting placed in a very good company for a very good package, well and good, right? So in case we're not getting a very good company or a very good package, additionally trying for a competitive exam, there's nothing wrong. Okay, so why I'm telling this is, there are people who are interested in both. I have had my own students where they come and tell me that, sir, I want to do both, but I don't know how to proceed. So I tell them, if you focus on one thing, you will also be able to do the other thing, because the pattern, I mean, though the pattern may be different, the questions that we are solving, the concepts that we are learning, everything remains same. So Darshini, is that clear, dear? Any doubt for you?
No, sir.
Okay, so now that we have understood about how these things work, I mean, what to do, and how these things are required for placements and for competitive exams, then we have to understand what consists of verbal ability. Okay, we'll focus only on verbal ability, so it becomes very clear for us. So when we talk about verbal ability, the term verbal ability means your ability to communicate. See, verbal means communication. It can be written communication or it can be oral communication. So verbal basically means communication, right? So ability, we know it's capacity or capability, your potential to do something in an effective manner. So when we say verbal ability, it means how good you are in expressing yourself. It could be both in writing and speaking. This is the most simplest definition of verbal ability. And I can give you the articles, and I mean, I've written one article on what is verbal ability, and there are few videos in the channel also, so that I'll refer to you later. I mean, maybe once I upload this video in the comment section, I'll give you. You can have a look at all those things. It's going to be easy for you. So now that we understand what verbal ability is, now what are the areas that comes under verbal ability? There are, to be very simple, there are only three areas. Okay, these three areas are grammar, then we have vocabulary, and then we have comprehension. Now look at the arrangement. First we say it's grammar, because grammar is very fundamental, right? So we need grammar. It's very fundamental, right? So we need to know some grammar. Either you speak or write, we need to know some grammar. So grammar is given importance. And there are a lot of questions that are asked from grammar. That's the reason why we have grammar here. So articles is asked, prepositions is asked. There are many topics which I'll tell you. So grammar is one section, and the next section is vocabulary. When we talk about vocabulary, we know that vocabulary plays a very important role both in writing and speaking. So unless we are strong in vocabulary, we may not be able to express ourselves fluently. So vocabulary, knowledge of vocabulary is very important. And many people, I mean many companies or organizations, they know that students are not good in vocabulary. So to make the exams more complicated, they have a lot of questions from vocabulary. Okay, so this is one thing. Even in competitive exams, it's the same, right? And if you look at the questions that are asked in both placements and other competitive exams, those terms, we may not have heard it at any place so far. It will be very new. That's the problem. Okay, so it's like something new. We may not be knowing it at any cost. So now, this topic, this makes verbal ability more difficult to solve, right? And that's why not many people clear verbal ability section, right? This is one thing. And the last section that we have is comprehension. Now, comprehension is, I would say, you need to have knowledge of vocabulary in order to understand a comprehension. Comprehension is nothing but your ability to understand what you're listening to or what you're reading, right? You read a passage, then are you able to understand the passage? Comprehension is nothing but understanding. So if you're reading a passage, are you able to understand the passage? If you're listening to somebody is speaking or giving a lecture, you're listening to them, are you able to, make out all the things that they are saying? So that comes under comprehension. Now that's why we say reading comprehension, and that's why we also say listening comprehension. And both are different, okay? And they use different skills. But both are important when it comes to communication in general, right? So comprehension is a must. See, imagine I'm speaking and you're listening. Unless you understand what I'm speaking, you may not be able to respond to me well. So that's where I think we have to, or should I say, like comprehension plays a very important role there. So, and not many people are very good listeners. This is another topic to be discussed. I mean, we can talk so much about listening, because people are not good listeners. All the time they want to say something. All the time they want to speak something. They don't listen. They are not ready to listen. So when people are not ready to listen, and many students are not ready to read also, read in the sense, reading something apart from the syllabus. That's what I'm saying. So when people are not ready to do that, it means, it's like they may not grow. Their language may not grow. Okay. So, so what to do? Everybody comes and tells us, no, like you have to read, you have to listen, and students don't do it ultimately because they don't realize the importance. And after few years, when they're not able to communicate, when they are not able to be fluent, or when they are not able to do something on stage, present, then they regret something is wrong with me, I'm not able to speak well, I'm not able to express myself well. Okay, all these years they have forgotten about it, and suddenly it comes to the mind, and they regret about all these years. I mean, they have not practiced. Now that's of no use. That's the reason why we always tell, please don't regret in the end. Try to do it. So yeah, comprehension. I think that's the third important thing that we will be covering under verbal ability. So to give you an idea about what topics may come under grammar and vocabulary and comprehension. Elaborately, I've given it in a video, but still I would say one or two words, and then we'll have some discussion about this topic. So when it comes to grammar, I'll tell you only the important topics, because there are many topics under grammar. We may not have everything in the exam, right? So most important topics would be articles, prepositions, verbs, tenses. Articles and prepositions, very important. Verbs, unless you know about verbs, we will not be able to solve tenses. Sometimes active and passive voice is very important, because it may not come in placements, but then in competitive exams we have questions from voice and speech, direct and indirect speech. Now these are all basic. It doesn't mean that they may not be asking on other topics. What I'm trying to say is these are major topics. You can definitely expect questions from these topics, but others are like may or may not, very rare, right? Okay, so this is with grammar. So tenses again, tenses like they are not going to ask you to convert one tense from other tense, but then instead they give you something called as verb tenses. Verb tenses means like you have to put in the right auxiliary verb. They're going to give you a fill in the blanks, and you have to fill in with the right form of verb. So we have three forms, that is present. Then we have present participle, past participle, past verb. So you have to supply the right form of verb. So that would be asked in terms of fill in the blanks. Now this is with respect to grammar. And for vocabulary, we have many topics. We have fill-ups. We have fill-ups. So they can give you a blank and ask you to fill in the right word, something like that. Then we have sentence completion. It's like a sentence is incomplete. They give you a blank and they give you the option. You have to choose the right option. I mean, you have to find out which one suits better, and that would be the answer. So that's sentence completion. Then we have verbal analogy. Verbal analogy is nothing but like identifying the relationship between two pairs of words. There are two words. You have to find out on what basis they are connected, what a relationship basis. So that's part of vocabulary. And we also have idioms, phrasal verbs, and many other topics we have. One word substitution, all these topics we have. That we'll see elaborately when we get into the vocabulary section. And the last one is comprehension. In comprehension, you have questions like reading comprehension, very important. Sometimes listening comprehension. In tests like Business English certification by Cambridge, in IELTS or TOEFL, you're made to listen to audios and you have to answer questions based on what you're listening to. So the audios are played just once, and you have to listen and you have to make out what they are trying to say, and then you have to answer the multiple choice questions. So that's listening comprehension. Okay, it may not come in placements much, but it's good to learn that also, right? This is one thing. And yeah, what is the next one? Yeah, comprehension, reading comprehension is one thing, and the next one is para-jumbles. Para-jumbles is nothing but, a paragraph is split into different sentences and everything is jumbled up. You have to arrange them in the logical order. So all these things I'll show you with an example as we proceed to the next class, right? And we have critical reasoning, Okay, we have something called as para completion. These are all, the other topics that comes under comprehension. Now, these topics, they test your understanding, your level of understanding, how much you are able to understand and then answer. So these are the three main divisions that comes under verbal ability. So is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Darshini. So you have any questions, you want to know about something, then you can ask me.
No, sir, it's clear, sir.
Okay, very good. So yeah, so what I'm suggesting you is this, Darshini. What you have to do is, initially, you have to, you can start with anything like either grammar or vocabulary or comprehension or all together. It's very simple, but we'll go topic by topic, so that would be easy. So we'll probably start with grammar. We'll complete one or two topics in grammar, then slowly move on to vocabulary. We'll see two topics in vocabulary, then jump into comprehension and complete two topics. Then we'll come back to grammar, because if we continuously look at grammar, it's gonna, it'll be very dry and boring. So we'll make this shift kind of thing, and then we'll learn as it is. And one important thing that I want to suggest to you is this: no matter how many times you're listening to a lecture like this, you will only learn when you solve questions. So solving questions is mandatory for both verbal ability and quantitative aptitude. Unless you solve questions, you will not be able to master them, master the rules, right? And when we solve, we remember it better. And you know that all these exams are time based. So with a limited time, we need to solve. So the only way is to practice as much as possible, and you don't have to search for any place to the questions to solve the test, because we deliver everything in our app. So again, the link and everything, I'll post it on the the website, on the YouTube. So on the comment section, I'll send the link. If you have not installed it, you can install it. And if the viewers, you're not aware about what we are doing, you can just check the comment section so that you can, download it and then use it. And everything is offered free of cost. There is no amount collected for anything that we are doing. So yeah, I think this short introduction would be sufficient. So is that okay, Darshini?
Yes, sir, it's okay, sir.
Yeah, you get a clear idea about what is verbal and how we should proceed to learn it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's really nice. So, you can also, show this video to your friends, because I'll be uploading it today. So you can show it to your friends and you can tell them like this is the session that we had today. And you can ask them to join in the same link from tomorrow if they are interested. Don't compel anybody, because it has to come out of their own interest. So we can't compel anyone. But passing the message is very important. So we are doing something like this. If you want to be a part of it, you can be. So that is something that you can always say. And it's not just in the college that you can tell. It is anywhere. Like your friends may be in any place, in any college or any school, or they could be working in some companies. If they are preparing for any exam, definitely I think it's gonna help them. So I think like all these things, I'll put it in the the comment section, so it'll be easy for people to understand. So yeah, we'll continue on. When is the next session for verbal ability? Ashwin, you have the schedule with you? Let me check. Yeah, the schedule goes like this. This is just to clarify. So every Monday we'll have verbal ability, and then the Tuesday would be a test that is given based on what is covered the previous day. In case the topic requires 2 hours, then the test would be next week, Tuesday. Like that it's planned. Okay. So one day we have verbal ability and the test on Tuesday, and Wednesday we have general communication class. That is for those who want to speak. I mean, if they are finding it difficult to express, if they don't know how to speak on stage. So it's all about communication, general communication. So that class, and the next day would be an activity based on communication, right? That's on Thursday. Wednesday would be the class, and Thursday would be the test. I mean the activity. And Friday, I have made it like students should learn IELTS. I mean, this is for those who are planning to go for IELTS. I mean abroad, so they can go for IELTS or TOEFL. So that's being taught on Friday, and the next day would be for the IELTS students. For them, it would be like practice or test or something like that. That is like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. These are the 3 days that we have classes, and the other 3 days are for test. That's how it is designed. So anything you can always check in the comment section. If you have any doubts, I'll leave my number there. I'll leave our group place there, so it will be easy for you. So Darshini, maybe like tomorrow, if you want any test, you can ask me at any time. In case you don't want any test, then we'll start with the topic from next week, Monday. Is that okay for you? Or if you have any suggestions, you want to tell something, or if your friends are interested, they want to join, you can get in touch with me. I don't know if you have my number. Do you have my number?
Yes, sir. I have it, sir.
I mean the TDP number, not the group WhatsApp number. I mean in your class group you would be having my number, not that number. Anyway, I'll just type my number here in the chat box.
Okay, sir.
I don't know whether you have this number, because I'm not using that WhatsApp now. Okay, this is the okay, this is the WhatsApp number of TDP. So any questions, any doubts, you can leave it here. Is that okay, ma?
Yes, sir. I got it, sir.
Okay. Okay, ma. Thank you so much for coming to the
Thank
class.
you, sir.
Bye-bye. Yeah.